On the open savanna, sometimes the most intimidating presence is not a single predator, but an entire pack of wild dogs appearing at once. They do not arrive to test their luck. They arrive with a plan, operating together like a single machine. Here, one mistimed move means losing the advantage, and one slow step means being pushed out of the contest. So who truly commands this land? The strength of one individual or the power of the pack? Across Africa's open grasslands, the impala represents alertness and speed. A full-grown individual can accelerate beyond 50 miles per hour within just a few strides, leaping over 10 feet while changing direction. Yet the impala's greatest strength is not muscle alone, but the ability to sustain long-distance movement across wide, open terrain. Wild dogs understand this well. They rarely launch into a full sprint at the start. The pursuit begins with steady pressure, forcing the impala to maintain high speed over extended distances. Fatigue gradually builds, and every shift in the landscape can become a decisive turning point. When the savanna opens toward shallow water, the strategy shifts. One group cuts off the path, guiding the impala toward the river's edge. In the water, wild dogs swim efficiently, quietly closing the distance. The escape space narrows with each moment. The chase ends quickly as the pack works together to draw the impala back onto land. There is no display, only an energy-efficient plan carried out with precision. Success does not belong to the fastest runner, but to those who know exactly where to bring the pursuit to an end. Along the edges of the savanna, where trees grow denser, wild dogs and baboons are sometimes forced to share the same space. Adult baboons are large, physically strong, and highly intelligent. With tall trees and rocky ledges as support, they move with confidence, climbing quickly and standing firm within large groups. Wild dogs quickly recognize the imbalance when facing adult baboons directly. A baboon holds its ground, using size and the surrounding vegetation to respond decisively, prompting the pack to keep its distance. After a few brief approaches and careful assessments, the wild dogs gradually pull back, yielding space to the group that clearly controls the area. Opportunities usually appear when a younger individual falls behind, momentarily separated from the protective circle. A short, precise approach follows. The encounter ends quickly, and the pack withdraws before the situation can shift. During migration season, wildebeest become a large but well-matched challenge for wild dogs. Weighing over 400 pounds and moving with endurance in tight formations, they are difficult to separate as long as the herd remains organized. For this reason, wild dogs stay close to the outer edges, waiting for the precise moment when one individual falls out of rhythm, turning numerical pressure into opportunity. The encounter begins with a calculated pursuit, stretching across several miles. Members of the pack take turns applying pressure, forcing the wildebeest to maintain a high pace without pause. There is no recovery window, no safe point to slow down. Each rotation conserves energy for the pack, while the target steadily loses its advantage. As the distance closes, the formation tightens with discipline. The final phase unfolds smoothly. The pursuit ends quickly, not as a result of raw speed, but as a natural outcome of greater endurance. This strategy gives wild dogs one of the highest success rates on the savanna, often exceeding 70%. Within the ecological cycle, endurance and coordination do more than provide an advantage. They shape the very survival of a species. Wild dogs and lions are bound in an unavoidable relationship of tension. They pursue the same large prey and compete for the same living space, often crossing paths along territorial boundaries and around shared food sources. When a direct encounter occurs, the balance clearly favors the lion. A single unexpected advance can quickly place the wild dogs at a disadvantage if awareness slips for even a moment. The risk is even greater for younger members of the pack, as lions may attempt to remove future competition to protect their position. To endure, wild dogs rely on constant vigilance, rapid movement, and the readiness to disperse when lions draw near. Survival is not always found in confrontation, but in knowing when to step back to protect the future of the entire pack. The leopard is a solitary hunter, adapted to silence and surprise. It typically acts quickly, then moves its catch into dense cover or up into trees to avoid attention. Yet this very habit places it on a collision course with wild dogs, pack hunters that range widely and remain alert to every opening. When a pack of wild dogs appears, the pace shifts immediately. There is no single direct charge, only repeated pressure from multiple directions. Under the weight of numbers and continuous approaches, holding on to a catch becomes increasingly difficult. In encounters like this, the leopard often chooses to withdraw, not because it lacks strength, but because direct confrontation is not its path to survival. The wild dogs do not need to pursue. Collective pressure has already done its work. The encounter closes quickly. On the savanna, success is sometimes not about force, but about compelling an opponent to move away at the right moment. For wild dogs, an adult elephant marks a boundary that cannot be crossed. A young elephant, however, can briefly create a sense of possibility. Nearly as large as a fully grown buffalo, moving a little slower at times, it may drift toward the edge of the group within just a few steps. The wild dog pack immediately shifts into an opportunistic mode, looking for a chance to separate the young elephant. But the elephant herd reacts even faster. Adults close in, forming a solid barrier, drawing the calf safely into the center. With a single decisive advance, the balance changes. The wild dogs disperse instantly, because at this distance, one mistimed move carries real consequences. The pack withdraws, as if there had never been an attempt at all. The lesson is clear. Endurance allows wild dogs to survive, but when facing elephants, the discipline of the herd is something that cannot be broken. The African buffalo is one of the most challenging targets on the savanna. A full-grown individual can weigh more than 1,300 pounds, equipped with curved, sharp horns and extremely fast defensive reactions. When standing within the herd, buffalo form a unified front, leaving predators with very few openings. Wild dogs understand these limits well. They do not attempt a direct approach. Instead, the pack moves alongside the herd, using endurance to apply constant pressure along the outer edge. The goal is to wear down a single adult, forcing it to fall behind. Once enough dogs gather around the separated individual, the pursuit reaches its conclusion. With younger buffalo, whether moving beside their mothers or not, the situation is far less complex for the pack. Numbers create immediate control, leaving little space for escape. On the savanna, Success does not come from head-on confrontation, but from steadily draining energy and drawing an opponent away from the protection of the group. In the animal kingdom, the honey badger stands as a symbol of absolute boldness. Its body may be small, but it carries a constant surge of compressed energy. Each time it charges forward, it releases its full strength, leaving rivals with no time to react. With speed, persistence, and daring tactics, the honey badger forces even the fiercest predators to stay cautious. This is not just the story of a fearless creature, but a reminder that a body weighing only a few dozen pounds can still challenge the balance of the savanna. The honey badger is one of the toughest and most intelligent mammals in Africa. It lives everywhere from burning deserts to open woodlands in Southwest Asia, enduring hot days and cold nights while continuing its search for food. Low to the ground, weighing about 20 to 30 pounds and measuring 2 to 3 feet long, it carries thick, loose skin that adds to its resilience. Its curved, pick-like claws allow it to dig a shelter within minutes and tear through hard soil to uncover insects, rodents, reptiles, or wild fruits. A sharp sense of smell and strong memory turn night paths that stretch for miles into a personal map for a hunter that moves alone and remains difficult to predict. The lion is known as the king of the savanna. Every step carries the weight and confidence of a ruler. Muscles built for power and jaws strong enough to overpower most prey within seconds. It is a presence that sends many animals scattering, and even other predators stay alert when its roar echoes across the plains. Yet in a world that seems shaped for the lion alone, there exists a small creature that knows no fear: the honey badger. When a lion moves in, the honey badger's survival instinct activates instantly. It refuses to step back, raising its fur and letting out sharp vocal cues that show complete determination. Its thick, loose skin allows it to twist nearly 180 degrees, protecting vulnerable points from the lion's paws and jaws. This bold, unwavering resistance often makes even the largest predator hesitate, sometimes even when an entire pride surrounds it. Most encounters end when the lion chooses to withdraw, avoiding a draining confrontation with an opponent that refuses to yield. It is a quiet balance of nature, where a smaller creature still protects its own space. Despite its size, the honey badger earns a rare kind of respect, when even the dominant force of the plains chooses caution. Its familiar opponents are highly venomous snakes such as cobras, vipers, and mole snakes that stay hidden deep inside thick vegetation. These snakes not only carry strong venom, but can also spray it as far as 6 to 8 feet in less than 0.3 seconds. With a head that moves like a spring, even the smallest hesitation can turn into a disadvantage. Yet against the honey badger's persistence, that advantage is often overturned. When the moment opens, the honey badger chooses a direct approach. It rushes toward the snake, aiming for the head to stop the most dangerous point, accepting the risk of being struck to gain the early advantage. Within just a few brief movements, the encounter ends and the snake becomes its prize. At times, the venom still takes effect, and the honey badger lies still as if deeply asleep for 1 to 2 hours. Once it recovers, it returns to finish its meal. This resilience is believed to come from changes in nerve receptors, a strong metabolic system, and a digestive immune response that help it regain balance quickly. Thanks to its tolerance to venom and rapid recovery, the honey badger can feed on venomous species, expanding its food sources and reducing competition for survival on the harsh savanna. When prey becomes scarce, ostrich eggs turn into a rich energy reserve that most predators cannot make use of. Each egg weighs nearly 3 pounds, protected by one of the thickest and hardest shells found in nature. It is almost impossible to break through using strength alone. So many predators simply leave it behind. But for the honey badger, it becomes a resource worth pursuing. Instead of wasting energy, it rolls the smooth egg out of the nest and toward solid rocks or sturdy tree roots. Each impact is a calculated attempt to create a small crack. Persistence becomes the key to unlocking this valuable nutrition, a clear example of how the honey badger blends intelligence, awareness, and steady strategy. In the semi-arid regions, honey is one of the honey badger's favorite foods. It doesn't search aimlessly. Instead, it moves according to coordinates deeply stored in its memory. It remembers every hollow tree, every rocky ledge with a hint of wax, and every old waterhole where bees once built their nests. When the season arrives, it returns to these familiar spots, choosing the cooler hours of late afternoon to avoid harsh sunlight and reduce bee activity. Approaching the trunk side, the honey badger uses its strong claws to widen cracks and break through barriers. It focuses on the honey-rich comb and the brood inside, then withdraws quickly before the bees gather in large numbers. Its 0.25-inch thick skin and coarse fur allow it to withstand countless stings, gaining in return a dense source of energy. Here, its strength lies not only in its tough skin, but also in the memory that guides it to the right place at the right moment. In the shaded thickets of the savanna, the python is an ambush predator that relies on pure muscle, wrapping around its target and tightening with about 6 to 7 pounds of pressure per square inch. Along that same boundary, the honey badger follows the python's scent with its sharp sense of smell, appearing as a bold challenger that moves in close. The encounter becomes a true test as it approaches, trying to quickly gain control. The python reacts by coiling tightly around its opponent, each loop drawing in like a living cable. For a moment, the advantage seems to belong to the much longer reptile. Then, a jackal arrives unexpectedly, pulling the python's focus away. The honey badger uses this brief opening, twisting free from the tightening coils. It counters just enough to disrupt the python's position, while keeping a safe distance from the jackal. In the end, it drags its prize deep into the bushes, showing that the most persistent survivor is not only the one that faces danger head-on, but also the one that knows how to use moments of chaos to shift the balance back in its favor. Across the African savanna, hyenas appear as relentless scavengers that always move in groups. A clan usually ranges from 3 to more than 10 individuals, forming a coordinated hunting team that persists until their target is exhausted. They challenge almost every species on the plains, yet they remain cautious around the honey badger. When they encounter a honey badger searching for food or water, the clan closes in with a tightening circle. Despite its small size, the honey badger is remarkably persistent and never hesitates to face larger predators. Each time a hyena steps in too close, the honey badger darts toward its legs or snout, forcing the rival to stop short. These sudden counters disrupt the formation, making the entire group shift positions again and again. Most encounters end without injury. The honey badger's fierce reputation becomes its shield, pushing stronger rivals to withdraw rather than risk a costly confrontation. It is a quiet balance of the wild. Each side keeps its distance and continues the hunt elsewhere. In the reptile world of the wetlands, the crocodile is an expert ambusher, carrying one of the most powerful bite forces on Earth. Around 3,700 pounds. A single clamp from those jaws can close off nearly every escape route for its target. Normally, the honey badger doesn't approach the giants hiding beneath the water. It focuses on young crocodiles when they must move across land, far from their safer territory. At times, its boldness even leads it to approach larger adults resting near the grassy edge. The honey badger follows from the side, keeping itself outside the reach of the crocodile's jaws and waiting for the exact moment when its opponent loses balance. Its own bite is estimated to be strong enough to crack the shell of a small turtle, so against the still thin hide of a young crocodile, that pressure quickly gives it the advantage. Once the young crocodile can no longer resist, the honey badger pulls its prize deep into the grass. For the honey badger, the outcome is more than a protein-rich meal. It is a way for a small body to make use of rare openings in the life cycle of a giant predator, turning narrow opportunities into survival. Amid the dust and wind of the savanna, wild dogs are not only pursuing prey, they are racing against hunger, rivals, and time itself. Every encounter becomes a survival equation, where pack discipline determines who maintains momentum and who loses the advantage. As the sun lowers, the tracks left in the grass carry a single message. Nature always demands adaptation. If this journey has kept your attention until the final moment, remember to like and subscribe to follow more stories from the wild. Turn on notifications so you do not miss the instant when the savanna shifts in a single breath.